load up on guns and bring your friends. It's fun to lose and to pretend she's overboard and self-assured. Oh no, I know a dirty word. Hello.
Prosecutor said Ethan Nordine was the undisputed leader of the group that day as they tried to prevent the peaceful transfer of power.
An FBI agents arrested Proud Boys former national chairman Enrique Tarrio at this home in Miami. By 2 this afternoon, he was in federal court.
Here we are now, entertain us. I feel stupid and contagious. Here we are now, entertain us. I feel stupid and contagious. Here we are now, entertain us.
Welcome to another episode of the News Brief here on the War Boys Studios. Today is June 16th. It is 1:25 p.m. I gotta bounce out of here like in 30 minutes because I got another stream I gotta do, but I am joined by my co-host Barry Ramey. Barry, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me on. Greetings, America. Let's get into it, man. What do you got for us, Enrique?
I mean, what we got for everybody, because there's a couple things that have gone on. I think we're going to cover like 2 or 3 things. So first and foremost is me and Barry got a chance to see firsthand the No Kings protest here in Miami, and our studio covered a couple of different events that were happening across the country with our new host, Rob. Rob has a show on Fridays. I think it airs around like 2:00 p.m. But we kind of wanted to get into like what happened with us this weekend, Barry. It was pretty interesting. There's a lot that happened.
Yeah, I mean, as a proud American straight male who has been to a lot of these, things, I've never had the opportunity to witness from an outside perspective to watch a black guy wearing a white Guy Fawkes mask screaming at you and calling you the N-word with a hard R. Yeah. That was I'm still trying to process this.
I mean, obviously we're on the other end of the camera. Were we able to get some of that on audio?
I think I'd have to go back and look and see. I did see a clip where I asked him to like just kind of step back a little bit, because he was getting kind of aggressive, which he did. But yeah, I gotta go back. It's your footage that really captured everything because it was a better camera and I was kind of more focused on keeping that one straight.
Yeah. So let me tell you what me and Barry did. Me and Barry decided that we were going to go to this event to cover it live. Obviously, we wanted to see if it was going to be safe first. So we kind of went incognito. Barry covered his patriotic tattoos that are all over his forearms. And we had funny part is the morning when I'm trying to get in disguise, how horrible that went the first couple times that I came out and told Barry, hey, is this good? And he's like, absolutely not. You look like Mario. So I don't think I did a very good job of covering myself, but hey, look, it worked because what we did is we got there. Actually, before we get into what we did there, the plan originally was I ordered a payload dropper for the drone, and we were going to drop leaflets all over this event and kind of cover it while it's dropping, so we could see the reactions of the people's faces. But Amazon was a little late on the on the delivery, so we weren't able to do that. I have received it, and we did test it yesterday, so we'll probably leave it for another trip.
This is why it's important to follow Warboy Studios, because this is the kind of stuff we're gonna do.
And that'll be so much fun the next time we get that shit working.
Oh yeah,
It's gonna be a fucking blast. So at first, like we wanted to see if it was safe. So we got in our disguises. I had the green bandana on. I had this ridiculous floppy hat. I don't even know where I got that hat from. And then even more ridiculous is I got the glasses that Barry has right now, which look horrible. And I put those on. And we walked into the crowd and we started doing interviews. And we got some footage of like some people saying some stuff, right, Barry?
Yeah, we did. What we did was we use the disguise. We presented Enrique as my illegal American friend, as I called him, Pablo, who was a business owner.
Like I was like your slave.
Yeah, I did. It was very very racist. But the reason I did it that way is because they went along with it. They were unable to see the paradox between the language I was using and how contradicting it was. And just because he was a brown illegal alien, so they thought they were willing to bend their own moral fabric to defend his cause, and they didn't know what his cause actually was.
We told them I was getting deported, right? Or something. Yeah.
Because you were late on your taxes, whatever that means.
Jokes on them. I don't pay taxes. IRS don't come audit me now.
Oh, they will.
But regardless of the fact, I mean, I don't think it was fun because like it's not my character to be out of character, you know? Yeah. It's not fun like just being me. So like I had to like force feed myself liberal propaganda in order to get like some questions in. And then we stepped back because obviously I'm a smoker and I needed to smoke a cigarette and I didn't want to bring my bandana down. And that's when the fun started because we were going to go back still in disguise. And we saw, do you know, what was the name of that TikToker we saw?
I forget his name, but he said he was more than willing to come on the show. I've been following that guy's content and I really like it. He's a brave young man. He's very smart and he's fearless.
Yeah.
But I forget his name, man. Damn it.
We're walking by him and he's like, he's got an onslaught of fucking liberals, like just trying to like fight with him or whatever. And I'm in character and I got the camera rolling. I'm like, this is the perfect opportunity to get out of this stupid ass disguise. You know, and I did.
That's when things got fun.
Mm-hmm. Then that's exactly when things started going south for them, not for me.
Yeah.
And me and Barry were there. I took the fucking stupid mask off. I put my hat on. I put the round sunglasses on. And instantly I could see like this old lady in the background was like, oh, that's the insurrectionist. And that's what they were screaming the whole fucking time. They're like, oh, you should still be in jail. You should still be in jail. My response to them was like, yeah, but now I'm here deporting your friends.
Deporting your friends. I think you did request that a few people get deported to the gym, which I found just all around good, helpful advice. So
yeah. Dude, there was so many fat women in the crowd. I mean, conservative women are so much hotter, dude.
Yeah. I mean, even the big girls are just still so much hotter.
Yeah. We encountered somebody that he came up to me. He's like, you should leave. And I'm like, I planted my feet on the floor and I'm like, no, but why should I leave? He's like, because something's going to happen to you. I was like, all right, well, then fucking let it happen to me. And he's like, you know who I am, Enrique? I'm like, no, I have no idea who you are. Yeah, you've seen me before. Like he was trying to chase some clout by saying that I knew who he was and I've seen him before. I've never seen this guy in my fucking life before. And you know, he continued with the. I don't know if it was the same guy. I think that might have been the same guy with the Guy Fawkes mask.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, wasn't it?
I got an image of them on camera next to each other.
There's a lot of interesting. Like I'm going. There's so many things that happen in that short period of time that I'm having difficulty like honing in on one that was more egregious.
Well, I'm going to tell you. I'll tell you what the most significant moment for me was seeing that that woman that was from South America somewhere, and she did not like you. She was on the sidelines talking trash, pointing at you, calling you names, and then you guys had a breakout conversation together.
Yes.
It lasted, I say, 6-7 minutes tops, and at the end of that, you guys hugged. But the significant and telling part for me was seeing all the liberals behind you guys, watching that excellent moment of two disagreeing Americans coming together and hugging. And then they're chanting insurrectionists and calling both of you and her a traitor.
Yeah.
That was telling.
So I had a couple of those moments where I saw people screaming at me in the crowd. So I put the handheld microphone in them and I reeled them in because they were circling us. They kind of made a stage for us. And every single person I brought in, you know, at first fucking was screaming at the top of their lung. And every single person, either I hugged, I shook their hand, or we came into like some sort of like understanding that we disagree on almost everything, you know? And Miami's a different crowd too. You know, you won't get those violent leftists like you do like in DC or Los Angeles or
they tried once upon a time, but I don't think they want to do that anymore.
Yeah. Another thing is what kept some of them at bay, because I knew if some of them were dying to come at me. Something that kept them at bay was the fact that we live in Florida and we have DeSantis, and those messages that we saw, those press conferences with the sheriffs, we knew that City of Miami Police was not going to fuck around. You know, they knew that we were living in a state where if I get assaulted, I can multiply that force and it still be legal, you know, and I wouldn't get arrested. They'd be the ones getting arrested. So I think that it's important to note that the reason why they weren't violent there too is because we live in a deep red state.
Yep.
In a pretty red county.
Yeah, and it just goes to show you how law and order, when it's implemented, it does work.
Yeah. And one glaring moment for me was these ACLU and I guess you'll talk about the lady with the green vest. But
yeah.
There was a member of the ACLU Florida, and I'm going to be typing up a tweet about this with the clip. The ACLU guy came in because somebody was trying to have a conversation with me, and he was trying to tell them not to, right? And instantly I put the handheld in his face, and I'm like, what are you doing? This is a grown-ass person. You know, why are you trying to tell him not to talk? And he told me something that was very fitting for a Democrat. He's like, you are the wrong color, sir. And I was like, what? What do you mean I'm the wrong color? So I didn't let off. And he's like, oh, just get with me when I take this vest off. So I'm like, why would I get with you when you take this vest off? And Patty just joined us. Patty was also at the DC rally. Patty, welcome. I'll finish the story and I'll go to you really quick. And he goes, I'll come to me when I take this vest off. I'm like, why would I wait for you to take the vest off? You already said who you are before it. You just told me I'm the wrong color. So I got him out of character for a little bit. So I will be tagging the ACLU and asking them if that representative of theirs, if they stand by the comment that I am the wrong color. I was called a white supremacist by some white lady. Some white older lady, because most of the people, 90% of the people there were haggard, old, angry cat ladies.
I learned that you can actually support Israel and still hate the Jews that day.
I didn't
know that you. Yeah, oh, it's interesting.
Patty, so welcome to the show. I know that you made a comment earlier to me that you found DC to be quite boring. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you saw in DC?
Yeah, so this was the strangest Trump event I've been to. And I know some people are going to say, "Oh, it's not a Trump event; it's a military." Yeah, all right, whatever. We all know what it is. I have not seen a gap in enthusiasm bigger than I have seen between the inauguration and this. Everybody who saw any video of it can see that the crowd was pretty piss poor. I can attest to that. The idea you get Stephen Chung saying there were 250,000 people. It's just straight garbage, man. Like, I mean, come on. I can count a little bit better than that. And I was standing there, and I'm telling you, there was not more than 10,000 people at this thing. I'd bet a year's salary on that. It wasn't very interesting. It was boring. You could see Rubio yawning. You could see Trump looking disinterested about halfway through. It was way too long. The weather wasn't great. But really, there's an enthusiasm gap that I've just never experienced at Trump events before.
I want to push back on that though.
Okay.
So like I would have loved to go, but the problem was like, it's kind of like reliving something and knowing the fear. And I know I shouldn't have this fear, but I think a lot of Trump supporters have this fear of going back to DC in a big crowd, and like not wanting the issues that we saw, happen.
Yeah, but there was a big crowd on Inauguration Day. There was a shitload of people, So I what I'm saying is that I never thought that I'd use. There are a lot of adjectives I could use to describe Trump events and MAGA events over the years, but boring is not one of them until this time.
Yeah,
this is the first time I can honestly say it was just boring, and at least I wasted a lot of money, on on a hotel and a trip. On the airfare, but whatever. It was kind of eye-opening though that it was that really dead. There just wasn't the enthusiasm.
Did you see like protests and what
No, and I think that's definitely part of the dynamic, because when they're like, obviously you guys all know this, that MAGA feeds off of the negative energy that's put out by people like Antifa and things of that nature, right? When it isn't there, it tends to kind of just peter out, in my experience. If there's not a conflict, if they're not at loggerheads, if there's nobody to fight, I've said this before. I thought years ago the Proud Boys sort of lost their dance partner, because Antifa almost disappeared after, say, 2021. And when there's nobody to fight, it can get a little bit stale. And I think that's what happened. And the fact that there wasn't, the inauguration celebration was different. I can tell you that I spoke to some people during the inauguration. There were three young guys in their early 20s who came from Sweden to see it, right? And they were all fired up. And that was kind of like, that was eye-opening to me. Like, people were really fired up. And the enthusiasm was through the roof. This just wasn't that. And maybe it's because it wasn't so much of a campaign rally, and it's maybe, I think maybe MAGA's gotten a little complacent, maybe a little fat and happy that their man's back in office, and they just figure, oh, well, he'll just take care of business.
I would love to argue with that, but you're 100% fucking right. And this is a historical notation of the conservatives throughout time and time again. Yeah. So as much as I'd love to disagree with you on that, you're 100% right.
Also, yeah, I think it also has to do with it not being a campaign rally. I think if Trump were to host a rally right now, I think he would fill a stadium like he usually does. But I think that another thing that goes with the event is that there wasn't much hype before it. It was just like an announcement that this was going to happen last month. And again, like I wish I would have been able to join. Looking back at the videos between me and Barry in Miami, I don't regret not going.
No, you're better off in Miami. You were better off in Miami. I should have gone to Miami. If I had it to do over again, I would have just flown to Miami instead of DC.
Yeah.
Cost would have been about the same. And,
I think it is a little telling, though, that Trump's worst party, I guess, was better than anything that the Biden and Kamala campaign did the entire time. So,
yeah, You know, there's a real difference. You bring something up, Barry, that I've wanted to talk about for a while, but I hear that I've been hearing that for years, like, oh, well, he can get more people to go to a rally and all that stuff. And I think it's just we're wired differently as liberals and conservatives. I think we
Oh,
all
you
agree
think?
with that. Right. Yeah. But I don't want my politicians, or I don't care if my politicians are good stand-up comics. Like, that's not what I'm looking for, man. And I think that most liberals are not looking for that. So if somebody's funny on stage, I could give a fuck. I look, Barack Obama is one of my all-time favorite politicians. If he were giving a speech in Boston right now, I probably wouldn't go, because it's not what I'm into. I'm not, the entertainment part of it doesn't land with me. I know it does with you guys.
Oh no, that's just an added bonus. It's just an added bonus.
I'm just saying we're different.
What lands with us is his love for America, conservative values, American culture, and America First agenda.
Yeah, but I mean, the meanness,
the comedy is just a double whammy.
Is a big deal, because I mean, I remember when I was at in Tennessee at the Reawaken America tour, Jim Brewer did a whole set of what I guess is comedy, but really it was just like nasty, mean-spirited bullshit, where he was making fun of people who got, who died after getting the vaccine or whatever, he thinks died from the vaccine. And it was just like, man, this is just like meanness and nastiness, and they ate it up. Those guys love it. If you tried to do something like that in a liberal crowd, I just think it would fall flat. It does fall flat. Nobody wants to go see a liberal politician do a stand-up comedy act. Nobody wants to see that.
Well, on the liberal side. Most liberals are busy looking for the 96 fucking gender, like they're looking for a Pokemon somewhere.
Okay, but all I'm saying is that we value different things when it comes to like attending rallies. Like, liberals are not looking for the comedy and shit like that. You guys are. And again, I'm not judging. I'm not saying there's anything wrong
I mean,
with that.
they're looking for Beyonce and fucking Bruce Springsteen.
Well, yeah. I'm looking for Bruce Springsteen because the E Street Band is the greatest American rock and roll band in history. But whatever. You guys get Kid Rock. So
like you said, we are wired differently, and that I do agree.
So another thing that somebody brought up in the comments, and I want to touch on two comments here, is when it also was Father's Day. A lot of people probably didn't want to travel because of Father's Day. And then somebody else posted about the girl in purple that they were dying. I'm there doing like back and forth with the microphone, and these two like fucking fat bitches were just waiting for their opportunity where I would bring the mic back and then just be alone. And the moment that I did that, I saw them, their eyes lit up, and they came up to me, and one of them started she started bitching from far away, so I didn't hear everything that she had to say, but I caught the part where she says, "The Pinochet did nothing wrong shirt," and like I immediately looked at her and I go, "Pinochet did nothing wrong," and she's like, "Oh, the Chilean, I'm Chilean, and my family was murdered by fucking Pinochet," which I know is 100% bullshit.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, and she's giving me this whole story. And she's like screaming at my face, and then I tell her that she should be deported to a gym. And
because she was fat.
I mean,
thank you for that clarification.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
So I'm trying to fat shame this lady so she won't die of obesity. And she continues to tell me this story, which is like an outlandish bullshit story. And I told her, again, I looked her in the eye. I go, Pinochet did nothing wrong. Pinochet brought prosperity into fucking Chile. And yeah, you could say like a coup is bloody, but if we're talking about coups, it was probably one of the most peaceful coups that we've seen in South America. And then Chile did have a
not exactly a high standard.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah, you're right. But regardless of the fact, like until in his reign, as the dictator, and he said that he only wanted to be a dictator for a little while, and then he gave up his power. Most dictators don't do that. He gave up his power and he let people vote in the new election, and obviously they voted more liberal as the years progressed, and we saw Chile's economy, because Chile was the richest country in South America for a very long time, and throughout the Pinochet regime. and then it's gone to one of the most poorest countries in South America. So we're seeing this lady just like go ape shit over some made up story, screaming at me, and then another person, because they're all wearing all the memorable ones are wearing some weird ass shit. So Barry, if you want to say the story about the high vis vest,
Yeah. So we noticed that there was organizers for the event, and I know this is going to kill some of my conservative friends to hear, but I got to give credit where credit is due. Overall, the people that are organizing No Kings Miami seem to want to genuinely care about not doing anything stupid, and they were looking out for their people. Now, with that being said, there was one individual. They were designated by these colorful, workers, reflecting vests, and she, about an hour before the moment that Enrique is referring, she was on a bullhorn, and we have her on footage. She has a bullhorn. She's yelling in the microphone that Enrique's a traitor, an insurrectionist. Hey, hey, ho, ho, everybody got to go, whatever the hell the thing is. Well, at the end of the event, when Enrique and I were packing up and getting ready to leave, this same woman came up to us in the vest, and we have all this on camera. She came up to us and she said to her, do you want me to continue with the story, or
keep going? Keep going.
So then there was no need to interrupt. So anyway, she came up to us and then politely asked us if we needed anything, offered us water, like as a kind human being that, that was nice of her. Then she says something very telling. She looked at me and Enrique and says, just so you know, not all of us working here agree with the message. You were just yelling on a bullhorn, calling Enrique a traitor, and then loaning that bullhorn to other people to call him a traitor and a insurrection, which is fine. I honestly had a fucking blast. I'm in my element, surrounded by people screaming at me.
I really should have gone to this.
It was a lot of fun.
Myself for this fucking nonsense.
But I mean, that's pretty, telling about, there's that conspiracy about paid agitators. Obviously, that woman did declare that this was a paycheck, and it was very nice of her to offer. I just I respect the game. I'm all about it. Let's play it. It's politics. It's a fucking joke. So yeah, that did happen. I thought that was pretty telling.
Before I forget though, like you were talking about Chile, I have a pretty decent Chile story. I can, or as Enrique would say, Chile. Yeah. So it was one of my first port visits in the Navy. We stopped at a place called Valparaiso in Chile. And when we got to the pier, we were only supposed to be there one night. It's basically, Valparaiso is just a gas station, right? So it's not a big city or anything. I mean, it's a minor city in Chile. But anyway, we get to the pier, and our captain was crazy. He was a crazy old drunk. We used to call him 22 knot Driscoll because the ship wasn't supposed to go past 22 knots, and he basically kept it that way the whole time. He was just kind of a nut job, and he let everybody go out all night long in Chile, when normally on a one-night stay, nobody would be able to go anywhere, right? But he let us out because he was a big lunatic. And so everybody goes out, and we get picked up on the pier by a bunch of guys in these white vans that were taking us to a club, which is just a brothel, right? And so we get to the place, and they're serving beers out of like coolers. You know what I mean? It's not a club, right? And there are a whole bunch of hookers in this place, and everybody could see that one of these hookers was a man, right? Anybody who is not blind, stupid, completely fucked up could tell that the Adam's apple on this thing looked like a fucking softball, right? So anyway, we're all like, this is not a trans person. This is a man who's just happened to be wearing a dress. There was a kid in the deck department. We used to call them deck apes. These are not the smartest guys on the ship. And this kid was like 18 years old. And I think the first time he ever wore shoes was in boot camp, right? He's from West Virginia. Mm-hmm. And this redneck kid goes in a room with this chick and, this dude, and we could all see it coming like, oh, this is going to end up bad. He ends up in there. About 30 seconds later, comes running out screaming with his pants around his ankles, trying to pick him up, running away from this dude who's chasing him to try and get some money off him, right? If you do something like that on a ship with 300 souls on it and you spend the next 6 months out at sea, you're probably going to get your balls busted a whole lot. This kid could never live it down. He spent the next fucking 6 months having to explain how he tried to fuck a dude in Chile. So every single time I hear about Chile or anybody talking about Pinochet or any of this, I think of that kid running past me with his pants around his fucking ankles, having just messed around with the dude.
Like you said earlier, we are wired differently.
Yeah.
Come on, it's something you don't forget. You
All
know?
I'm thinking about now is chili dogs, which I do believe is the international
dogs?
symbol for Pride Month.
So check this out. One last, because I got to go in a second. So another thing that I kept hearing from the crowd, obviously I've assumed the role of the Ice Raid czar for this app called Ice Raid, and local TV here seems to not want to read what the Ice Raid app actually is and what it does. The misconception is that it is part of the government, right? It's connected to the government and it's a way for people. No, it's not. So I kept hearing members of the crowd saying, "Oh, he started an app for deportations." It's not an app for deportations. It's an app so you can report actual crimes, because when you put the picture in, you have to, the drop down menu specifically states, like, there's different crimes on there: assaults on police officers, obstructing, looting, robbery, and things like that. And there's the app is made in two parts. One, it's like an activism thing to get you off your ass and start doing something. Then the second thing, it's more for crypto education, because once you use the app, you get crypto, so you have to turn it into fiat, and you have to learn the process of creating a new wallet and transferring that to like a Coinbase account so you can pull money out. And it has a lot of different features on it. And I just saw what's great about it is that the media hates it. So I guess the marketing's good on it, but I saw a lot of people mention that while I was over there. So I really do appreciate the local media for promoting the app. And if you guys want to check it out, it's iceraid.us. So is there anything else you want to touch on this subject? Because I want to get on, before I have to go in 4 minutes, I do want to get into what's happening in the Middle East right now.
Yeah, I'm going to wait until I do some more research on that Minnesota thing that occurred.
Okay. I mean, you could, after I'm out of here, you could touch on it for a second.
I've got some thoughts.
So headline. So just in case you don't know, and I'm pretty sure if you're watching this show, you know what's going on in the Middle East between Iran and Israel. And the Iranian president, as per CNN reporting, Tehran doesn't want to expand war with Israel. No shit. I think they're running out of resources to fight back against Israel. And I see a lot of people like, I'm not a fan of either side here. The only thing I'm pro is making sure that the United States does not get involved in the situation in Israel and Iran. That's like the only thing. Other than that, you know what? To me, the rest is just entertainment and foreign policy, right? I posted yesterday that I hope the Iranian people take advantage of this and overthrow their government, which was installed by Jimmy Carter, and truly have a chance at freedom. And we're seeing these Persian nations across letting Israel use their airspace to drop bombs on Iran, right? So like there is this consensus that Iran's been a problem, and Iran's been a proxy, using these proxy groups to attack Israel and other parts of we saw the Houthis attack on the shipping lanes and things like that. So like, it's not so much I'm championing for Israel, but I'm not gonna say it's not a bad thing what's going on in the Middle East, as long as we just don't get involved. Now, there have been reports that we've seen recently on the air scanner or whatever, that there is a lot of military aircraft leaving the United States going due east. Do we know anything about that yet? I don't think so. I haven't been tracking it too much. I've been on a show for the past 2 hours. But you don't have to pick a side here, dude. And just because you don't pick a side doesn't mean that you're siding with Israel either. I think the
We
Iranian
don't have to pick a side, but our government is going to, and we all know what it is, man. Like, I mean,
Oh.
this is, this has been. Look, we've talked about AIPAC and we've talked about the undue influence that the Israeli government, and again, I say the Israeli government, not the Jewish people, but the Israeli
course.
government has on us, and it's a problem of our own making. It's absolutely absurd. It's probably not going to change because both parties do it. Like, I mean, AIPAC gets more support, bipartisan support, than just about any group in the
Anything.
world.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, come on. So exactly what do we see? You see somebody like Tucker Carlson saying, who I think is a piece of shit, but
Leave
he's
Tucker
saying,
alone.
The
yeah,
fucking
okay.
goat.
Oh yeah, like he needs defending. Oh, he
The
can't handle it.
goat.
So anyway, but Tucker is out saying, hey, we
Sorry,
shouldn't
for a
be
second.
getting involved in this on Israel's behalf. And Donald Trump, who he supported, has said, or was it yesterday, that, well, we're not involved yet, but we could get involved, which is just basically saying we will get involved. I mean, it's a joke. I really wonder how the MAGA crowd is gonna do whatever kind of mental gymnastics they have to do to justify whatever Trump does. Because if we get involved in fucking with Iran and starting a wider war in the Middle East, or perpetuating a larger war in the Middle East, I want to know how that's America first, because it ain't. And I know they'll find a way to justify it because they have to. But
Well, I mean, when you're talking about Iran, who's constantly chanting death to America in the streets and actually teaching that in elementary schools, I would imagine that would kind of teeter the line of American first interest, getting rid of a government in Iran, because the people of Iran also.
Are you seriously talking about regime change in the Middle East? I mean, really, think about that. What you just said is awfully similar to the justification for the Iraq War.
No, well, I mean, I don't agree with the Iraq war at all, because if we would have left Saddam alone, he would have handled Iran for us. And I think that was the dumbest strategic thing we've ever fucking done, among a few others.
I don't think we need to
pulled up.
handle Iran. I think we need to stay.
We don't
away from war with
need
them.
to handle Iran. We can actually collapse the Ayatollah, and the people of Iran will handle it themselves.
Was there
Yeah,
a
I know
report?
that's
We
going to
could
take
be
decades.
seeing that soon. We could be
Well,
That's
seeing
going to
that.
take decades, and I agree with you.
Guys-
But
guys, I
that
gotta
will take
cut
a
in
long
really-
time. That's not going to happen.
I gotta
overnight.
cut in this.
No, I agree. You're right. Okay.
But regardless, I saw reports that the Ayatollah had been killed in an airstrike. I don't know if there's any truth to that, but I did see it reported. I don't know
I
if
saw
you-
a report that several reports that said that they floated Netanyahu floated the idea of an assassination attempt on the Ayatollah, and Trump said he vetoed it. He said, we're not going to support that.
Yeah.
Um,
So that would be
that sounds right to me. That doesn't sound surprising, because I think
Hey,
that would be a
I gotta-
disastrous.
I gotta jump out of here, gentlemen. I'm gonna leave you to it. I'm gonna X myself out of the screen because I don't want to end the stream. I don't know how to do it without ending the stream, so I'm just gonna remove myself and I'll leave it to you guys. Remember to join, to subscribe, and turn on those post notifications for @Warboy Studios, and I leave you guys in good hands.
He's lying.
I'm lying.
It's a bald-faced lie.
Well, I'm going to be honest. Well, did you have anything want to get out about what we were just talking about? Were you finished?
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't. We're going to find out in the next days and week or two how this is going to play out, and talking out of our asses about it probably isn't.
Yeah, and I don't want to see any. It's never a good thing. Anyone that's championing war anywhere in the world, you're a piece of shit. All right. Sometimes it's necessary. Most times it's avoidable, and
No, I agree
it's okay to love your country and not care about the people that run it. But that ends for me, because I totally care about the people that are running it now. But that's just me.
Yeah. Did you want to talk about the Minnesota thing? Because
I do, but full disclosure, I'm going to let you take off, because I haven't really looked into it. I've been seeing all the contradicting stories. I don't know all the details to really give an educated hypothesis. So have at it.
Yeah. So I kind of pride myself on knowing a lot of the right-wing activists all across the country, even the sort of obscure ones that a lot of people don't know about. But I had never heard of this dude before. So I did a little bit of research, quickly, and there's a lot of video that you can see online now of him saying some pretty fucking wild things over in the Congo, or the Democratic Republic of the Congo, as they like to call it, which is ridiculous. But in any event, this guy is a really hateful prick, and I say that not because he claims to be a Christian, but because I don't think he is anything close to a Christian.
Now you're talking about you're talking about this conservative activist. Who is
The
this
killer.
now?
So he's been active in Minnesota politics for quite a long time. But one of the things that he did that's of note is he went over to the Congo. I want to say it's like 7 or 8 years ago, in an effort to help them write laws that made it okay to jail people for being gay, and in some cases execute people for being gay. There's videos of him over the last couple of days, doing some very strange dances for Jesus, really, really oddball stuff over in the Congo. So he's a hateful prick, and he really, especially, look, have your opinion on abortion, but when you start shooting people because they support it, then you've lost everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I say the same thing about healthcare. You feel how you want about the fucked up healthcare, but when you start shooting,
you shoot some guy
executives
who was,
and then putting them on T-shirts.
Yeah, I agree with you. So anyway, this murder was these murders were really insidious in the fact that he impersonated a police officer as well. So he betrays the trust of people and cops. These guys are these people were legislators. They see a police officer at the door, they open the door, and then they die for it. It's really sick on a lot of different levels. It reminds me of George Tiller, the abortion doctor in Kansas, who was shot in the face in his church about 15 years ago by an anti-abortion activist. This is really similar, and it's just fucked up. I don't want to have an argument about abortion, because we're going to have different opinions on that, and that's fine. I don't think that you having a different opinion than me on abortion makes you a bad person. We just disagree. Sure, and that's fine. So anyway, this was just really, really bad. And the thing that drives me nuts is I knew right away, and I've been on InfoWars more than most people, and I immediately knew that Alex was going to say that this was a false flag, this was fake, when it's obviously not. The man has a long history of saying that he hates Democrats, and he hates people who are pro-choice, and we're going to just make up some bullshit and say, oh, no, he's secretly like Antifa dressed up as Mac. Like, come on.
Well, the only question,
reality.
But my question is, why would it? So do you think you're saying this is a huge conspiracy?
No, I'm saying it's one guy who did something that.
But in his mind frame, why is he offing Dems that vote against the Dem agenda? Is he trying to make it look like?
No, he shot people, Democratic politicians, local Democratic politicians who he knew personally, right, because of their position on abortion, right? He also had a list of about 70 people that he wanted to kill. Ilhan Omar is on there, Amy Klobuchar, like we're talking about every Democratic politician in the state of Minnesota, basically, right? So this is politically motivated violence. And what drives me nuts is that I remember when that scumbag went and shot up the Republican congressional baseball team and almost killed Steve Scalise. Yeah. That as soon as I found out that the guy had a long history of being a Bernie bro and whatnot on the internet, I was like, man, that really sucks. But I'm not going to. I mean, it's the truth that guy was a liberal and a Democrat, and it makes me sick to my stomach that somebody who agrees with me politically would do something that horrible. But I'm not going to lie about it and say that, oh, that's not true because I don't like it. The fact is, a lot of things you don't like in the world are true, whether you fucking want to accept it or not. And this guy is a hardcore evangelical, right-wing, Trump-supporting Christian. I'm not saying that makes every evangelical, right-wing, Trump-supporting Christian a bad person or a murderer, but this guy is. And for Alex to go around and say, "Oh well, that's just not true," because it doesn't fit in conveniently with his worldview, is just nonsense. It's sad and sick.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I haven't seen the details. I've only read brief articles and headlines. I've witnessed a lot of contradicting stories and opinions about it. I don't know what to make what is what. But so you're saying, because this is the first I've heard the abortion argument. Like I said, haven't looked into it. I've been reading that it was about Democrats that voted against giving illegal aliens health care and benefits.
No, I think it's strictly about abortion, having read about him. And I think that's going to come out because he's going to say that, right? He wrote a manifesto. He's not trying to hide why he did this stuff. And also, he didn't want to die. He actually surrendered to police pretty much without incident once they tracked him down. So he's going to talk in court, and he's going to tell everybody why he did it.
Is he a Walt's appointee from what I've read? Is that false?
He was appointed to some low level like economic council. It's not clear whether Waltz had any idea who he was or whatever. I mean, when you get to that kind of level of local politics, oftentimes people are appointed and nobody even knows exactly what they're about. But or it might have been a thing where, hey, let's put a Republican on there so that we can say we're bipartisan, shit like that. But
yeah,
this is a clear case of somebody wanting to kill Democrats because they support abortion rights. It's not complicated, but I'm worried that we're going to hear, like we're already hearing Alex say that this guy it's a false flag and he was a patsy and all this. It's like, come on, man. Sometimes people on your side do things that are wrong. It happens to me. It happens to all of us. Like, just stop with the everything's a false flag fucking nonsense.
Yeah,
it's silly.
We don't. There's Jussie Smollett's everywhere on every side.
Yes, and I was the first to admit that was garbage from the get go. It was obvious garbage, and I didn't try to defend that in any way whatsoever. And I just wish that people would grow the fuck up, and just admit when your side is wrong. Your side is wrong, and it's not anti-abortion activists that are wrong. It's this guy who is wrong. You know what I mean? It's this individual by himself. I don't, just because you take the same position that he does on abortion doesn't mean I think that you're a murderer or you're a bad guy or anything like that. I don't think that way. It just drives me nuts that some people just want to make excuses and it's a team sport and shit like that. Well, sometimes we gotta fucking pump the brakes on that.
Yeah, I just want to wait for more information. I only because I've been so wrong before, jumping to conclusions with all the fucking media out there. But yeah, I agree. I've seen it on both sides.
He's alive, so we're gonna find out exactly. He's gonna be able to speak for himself. Like that. If he were dead, then people could make up anything and say, "Oh, well, he was." But he's gonna talk, and so we're gonna find out one way or the other. And I don't think I think he's gonna come out there and just say, "Yeah, I did this because these people are baby killers."
Okay, prediction. Iran and Israel. You see this lasting a long time? You see this fizzling out? What do you think is going to happen?
Oh, Jesus. I have no idea. I mean, I think that, I think it'll get worse before it gets better. I don't know exactly how, I don't know what the end game is for either side. Netanyahu obviously wants to bomb the daylights out of Tehran, and but you can't necessarily expect that you can degrade the Iranian military to the point where they're no longer a threat to Israel unless we end up in a world war. So I don't know what Israel's end game is. And as far as Iran goes, we know what they would like. They would like to obliterate Israel, but they don't have the means to do it yet. So I don't know how either one of them gets what they want. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. I think that behind the scenes, whether it was Mossad or even our government, which I'm sure it's a combination of the two, I see in the next 7 to 10 days there at least being some kind of attempt of uprising from the Iranian people to take it back. I don't know if it's going to work, but I do think we're going to see an attempt here shortly.
I think the big, the pipe dream for all of us in America has always been that because the Iranian population is so skewed towards young men. Like, I mean, it's like something like I forget what the number is, but it's something insane. Like 60% of the population is under the age of 30. You know, I mean, like, and those people are less likely to become radicalized and support the mullahs, right? So we've been kind of waiting for them to just wake up and get rid of this, you know, horrible theocracy that they have, but it doesn't happen. And I'm not saying it won't happen, but it would be an organic revolt within an overthrow of that government within Iran without foreign influence would be the absolute best thing that could possibly happen. Right?
I don't think you can get there without foreign influence, but I agree with you.
Yeah. So no, I hear what you're saying. I don't know that it's possible. It would be the best case scenario, but we've been waiting for it for quite a long time, and it hasn't happened.
Well, I think this is the biggest strategic military strike that Israel's ever put on Iran.
Don't you think that this might actually just push the younger generation into the arms of the mullahs because they're upset that they're getting bombed by the great Satan? And
yeah, especially if you push the propaganda to influence that. Yeah, that's a real reality for sure. But you know, time will tell. I think it's a very interesting time, and this can get really ugly, or there could be a lot of good that come out of it. Time will tell.
I mean, we're gonna be able to say, well, we can say it right now, but it's gonna be true for a long time that we did not live in boring times.
Yeah, no shit, man.
It's
all right, Patty. Tomorrow we're going back to the Capitol, bro. You coming with us?
No, I'm not going back to DC for quite a while. It's you know what, to get me to go back to DC. The only fun I had, I went to a Nationals game on Saturday, so that was fun.
Yeah, like you love your baseball. I have fun at the games. I don't like watching it on TV, but baseball games, they're fun.
Yeah. But I think baseball is the best in-person sport. Maybe hockey's great in person too. But and basketball if you have really good seats, but not if you have nosebleed seats. Football to me is a television sport. Like I won't go to Foxborough to watch the Patriots, especially because it's frigid most of the season. I watch it on television. I think football is a TV sport, but baseball is an in-person sport. It's the most fun in-person sport as far as I'm concerned. We got a good
opportunity to mix baseball and politics one time shortly after January 6th. Group of the allegedly a group of the guys down here got together and dropped a big banner live at a Marlins game. It said Trump won, January 6th was a setup, free the boys, Proud Boys did nothing wrong.
Yeah,
right
I think Owen Schroyer did something similar to that at a Rangers or an Astros game. I can't remember which.
Somebody else gave us the idea for sure.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We're gonna do the next time I want to do an episode of my podcast soon where I'm going to talk about the fact that I play a game called Vintage Baseball where we play by the rules of the 19th century with the equipment of the 19th century, and which means we don't use gloves, but we still play with a hard ball. And the uniforms are crazy and the rules are different.
You have like a bat with spikes and chains on it, or
well, the bats are the bats are massive and they're not really quite shaped like modern baseball bats. You know, they're like big sticks, and the baseball is a little bit different. Anyway,
why are racist? I don't know why racist prison jokes are coming to mind when I look at that bat, but they are.
Okay, all right. Anyway. Barry, it's nice to be here. And,
yes, sir. Where can people find you? Where can they follow your show?
Yeah, there's no point in that.
Okay.
So
you don't think any of these people hate watch you?
What's that?
You don't think people hate watch you from here? I think they do.
Oh, people do. People definitely do hate watch me, but
I'm one of those people.
I get comments that are like, "Hey, I think you're an asshole, but I enjoy the show." Yeah, which is cool, and I appreciate that, and I definitely enjoy the feedback, even though I bust balls and say don't leave comments. You can leave comments. I read them all. So
nice, you told on yourself. Well, at Patty Don't Surf, watch a show on the War Boy Studios. Patty Don't Surf, great show. Patrick Rowley. My name is Barry Ramey, host of the American Rising here on the War Boy Studio. Follow our pages individually so we could finally get off Daddy Enrique's social media teat because it's pissing me off. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you. Follow the War Boy Studios at War Boy Studio here on X. Patty Don't Surf. Love you, brother. See you next time, man. We can argue about why my side is right and your side is wrong. Cheers, mate. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and we are getting ready to get out. Like, subscribe, whatever you're doing. If you're watching us on YouTube, and go ahead and hit that follow button for the American Rising and at Warboy Studios. I'm your host, Barry Ramey, filling in for Enrique Tarrio, who left early. Yeah, God bless you, America. And we do have a king. His name's Jesus Christ.
Load up on guns and bring your friends. It's fun to lose and to pretend she's overboard and self-assured. Oh no, I know a dirty word. Hello.
Prosecutor said Ethan Nordine was the undisputed leader of the group that day as they tried to prevent the peaceful transfer of power.
And FBI agents arrested Proud Boys former national chairman Enrique Tarrio at this home in Miami. By 2 this afternoon, he was in federal court.
Here we are